Welcome to Let's Talk Football with me, Chris.
And me, Richard.
The podcast bringing you the latest in football news. Every week we discuss all the big talking points from the world of football and preview all the action in the week to come.
In this week's podcast, there was no football over the weekend, so there is nothing to talk about. Absolutely nothing. Not a 3-1 win for Arsenal in the North London derby, and not a 6-3 win for City in the Manchester derby.
No, nothing to talk about. So, let's not talk football. Let's talk about anything else. Anything else?
Let's talk about anything else in the world.
Anything else?
Nothing to see here. Move on.
No depressive states for us.
No,
Hang on.
I'm not sad.
Anything else happening in the news?
No.
No, nothing.
Really. No, perhaps we should talk about some matches of football then.
We have to.
We don't have to. We don't have to do anything, but
Oh, that's true.
That's why we're here. It's why the people are listening.
Yes, the people.
The people,
Well,
in inverted commas.
The people. Well, I'll go first.
Go on, you rip the Band-Aid off first.
Haaland is a cheat code. Haaland's a cheat code. He should be banned. He shouldn't be allowed to play football ever again. Because what is wrong with this man?
No, he's just ridiculous, isn't he?
3 hat-tricks in 3 home games in a row for him.
Yeah. It's taken him 8 games to get 3 Premier League hat-tricks.
Yeah, I saw a stat earlier that if he carries on at his current rate, he'll score 66 goals in the league this year.
Yeah, and Dixie Dean will be very much a forgotten man.
Indeed. Jeez, I can't cope with this man.
No, I don't think anyone is.
No one can cope with him. The defenders definitely can't cope with him.
No.
I don't know what's going on.
It's just crazy movement.
His power, he's quick, he's got everything.
He's got everything. He has. Yeah.
He's the cheat code. He is.
He even assisted a goal this week. So if he starts adding those to his game,
it's ridiculous.
Dear God.
It's ridiculous. It's like you've gone into the editor in Football Manager and changed all your stats to 20.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty much like that.
That's what's happened.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on with this guy. But I mean, we weren't brilliant in the first half.
No.
I felt we sat off them.
Yeah.
I thought we were a little bit we were a little bit scared. But then in the second half, I think it's already over at this point. We're 4-0 down.
Yeah.
But I felt they got on the front foot a bit more, and we showed a bit more in the second half.
You did, yeah. They took their foot off the gas a little bit.
They did as well. I think once Foden got his hat trick.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Anthony scored, and you just seemed to anger them.
Well, that's what happens though. That's what happens, doesn't it? Yeah. But then we got the bear. We made it a little bit respectable at the end. Anthony Martial comes on and gets a couple, and he has a knacker scoring against City as well. Martial.
Yeah.
He's quite good at that. But yeah, not brilliant. I mean, City obviously very, very good, but they have the cheat code, so does it really count? Does it count when you've got a cheat code?
I mean, if you take Haaland out of that game, you still draw with Man City.
We still draw, and we take that away at the Etihad.
Yeah, yeah.
In fact, actually, no, you said he got an assist, so we win 3-2.
Someone would have passed it to.
Actually, yeah, no, you take Haaland out of the game, we win. So get rid of the cheat code. We're the best team in Manchester. We all know this.
But I should imagine that will not be the last time that he will chew a team up and spit them back out again.
But yeah, no, it's one of them. I kind of expected it. I didn't think it'd be as bad a first half as we put in.
No, I mean, 8 minutes on the clock, you're a goal down. I mean, you did well after that. They didn't score till 34 after that.
No, but I mean, we weren't
just imploded before half.
We just weren't. I never felt like we were just off them all the time.
Active.
Yeah,
no.
They weren't on top of them. When you think about how we played well against Arsenal and Liverpool, we got in their face and we were in on them.
Yeah,
we didn't do that with City. They got scared and backed off and thought, "Oh no, it's City. We need to, Haaland. We need to give them time and space
give
or whatever.
All the space in the world."
Yeah, and it wasn't ideal.
But at least you kept 11 men on the pitch, unlike us.
We did. So yeah, let's go to that show. The North London derby.
Insert word in front of show.
Well, if you're a Spurs fan, I guess. If you're an Arsenal fan, it's a great show.
Yeah. I've got a lot of complaints.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of complaints. Why we haven't closed Thomas Partey down, I've no idea.
To be honest, I don't think
he has unleashed one from 30 odd yards.
Yeah, but I don't think because he takes it first time as well, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So it's not as if you've got time to get out to him necessarily.
No, but someone should be closer to him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, on the edge of the box.
But he takes it first time.
He does take it first time, but someone should be closer to him.
I think you're being harsh on your defence there.
I'm being harsh on my midfield, but yeah.
I don't think you're I don't think you're really expecting him to take that shot first time.
Yeah.
And the sweep that he got on it and the perfection of the strike, it was a great strike.
Just wave goodbye to the bloody thing. Yeah.
So it's one of them that can happen in a game.
Obviously, Hugo makes the cock up for the second goal.
Mm-hmm. Not ideal.
It just runs through his arms, and that's just horrendous. I mean, the angle they showed it on the telly, it's like, oh, Hugo.
Yeah, he's had a moment.
He's had a moment, unfortunately for Hugo. Made a great save initially, and then did that. And then Emerson Royale does what he did.
Yeah, you can't do that in a derby.
No, and the one good thing, Emerson Royale will not be playing for 3 Premier League games.
I mean, yes.
It's the one shining light that I have.
Your manager obviously likes him.
I failed to see why, but okay.
Is Antonio? Are you questioning Antonio Conte?
I'm questioning Antonio Conte's selection of Emerson Royale. Yeah.
Shocking.
Indeed, I am.
These Spurs fans are fickle, aren't they?
But Matt Doherty at the end of last season, before he got injured against Aston Villa, I think he was flying.
Yeah.
And he can't get a sniff in the team now. He came on Saturday. Admittedly, he did try a crossfield ball from right to left, which was horrendously bad.
Oh dear.
But yeah, in fairness, we normally lose at the Emirates, so I wasn't too disappointed we lost. Because it's an expectation.
It's what you're used to.
And we have had the most red cards in this fixture, Arsenal versus Tottenham.
Yeah.
Because if you look back through the history of maybe the last 15 years or so, we always shoot ourselves in the foot. We either make a poor error for a goal, or a man gets sent off.
Yeah, not ideal ways to be working in a derby.
No.
If we're being honest.
No, we really haven't shown the football world how to play football this weekend.
Well, no, but that very rarely happens from a Tottenham team anyway. Moving on. But yeah, no, big disappointments in those two derbies.
Yeah.
For the two of us, but not obviously if you're from the other side of those derbies. But we don't like you anyway.
No. And a big disappointment for Nottingham Forest as well. If we might as well carry on with the derby theme.
That was the plan. That was the segue I was working towards.
Sorry.
Was into the Leicester Forest game. And I would say Leicester finally showed up.
James Maddison did in particular.
Yeah, what a free kick.
Oh, beautiful. Absolutely beautiful free kick.
Get him kicking 3-0 up at half time, and I felt like, those goals came, and like the first two obviously come very quickly.
Yeah.
25-27, bang. That's the shock factor. And then the other one, the other finish from Maddison as well. Some good goals, actually.
Some very good goals, yeah. Even Patson Daka's one was very good.
Yeah.
Just the composure to finish it. Forest looked awful.
Yeah, this is the risk they took, though, wasn't it? When you're buying in 20-odd players.
Yeah, it was a risk they had to take. Obviously, they didn't have the numbers without the loan signings. Obviously, the loan system in the Premier League is slightly different to what it is in the Championship. So you can get away with bringing in lots of loan signings. You can't do that in the Premier League.
Yeah, but it has
to go out and invest. But I don't think Steve Cooper's going to last much longer.
I think he's going to struggle. The thing is, though, it's like... Yeah, they need to get someone who's going to get this team
Rafa
together
Benitez
quick.
Is the man I've heard.
Really?
Potentially, yeah. Potentially.
That would be very interesting.
That would be very interesting
to see Rafa in there. Because if he does nothing else, he'll get them organised.
Yes.
Yeah,
it's just a little bit naivety, I think, from Forest. They seem to... It's like when they played us earlier in the season. They were great in the middle of the park, but it's both boxes where they've struggled.
I just think it's it's the togetherness of the squad.
It is the cohesion as well.
It's so bitty, isn't it? Because of the way that they've just been thrown together with 20 footballers. All professionals, of course, and all have talent. But
just hoping that it sticks.
Yeah, and it's just not it's not coming together as quickly as they need it to.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously they're not in major trouble right now. They're only a couple points off of Palace. A win away from 15th. So it's
why if they make the change now, it would make sense.
Yeah.
Before it gets worse.
Yeah. But they're looking in trouble, Forest, at the minute. Yeah. It's not a good day to concede for in your local derby. Because it is the one that they've got in the Premier League. Obviously we know Derby around.
No. Yeah. And it was a shot in the arm for Leicester, definitely.
Oh, they needed that. And the performance to go with it as well will give them lots of confidence. But obviously, Leicester have, they can't. I wouldn't get too excited about it because I think
they have their own issues.
I think this Forest team is so down right now and so not together. That I just it comes with that little spot of caution. I think. From a Leicester point of view, it's like okay,
you can walk.
Okay, we've had a good night, a very good night for Leicester. It'll be good for the confidence. But they won't really know until maybe next week. It'll be more of okay, is this something to carry on with, or is it just that Forest were bad?
Yeah.
But James Maddison was brilliant, and if he keeps that form up, I mean, we didn't talk about him last week in the
we didn't
England conversation
because we kind of just sort of discarded him because
mainly
he hadn't really fired. Obviously, he's a listener of the podcast,
of course,
and we shunned him. So he proved us wrong.
He did prove us wrong, but I think more of it, I think, is why I never had him in that conversation is the same reason that we talk about Trent and we talk about Jadon Sancho. Is I just don't think Southgate
people in that position.
I just don't think Southgate likes him.
No, there's something there that doesn't quite click.
Yeah, so I think there's stuff to find out from that, but his performance, particularly on Monday, was phenomenal.
Yeah, if he can keep being sort of an 8 out of 10 every week,
he's got to put himself in the conversation, hasn't he? That's all he can do. All he can do is put himself in that conversation and see what happens. Of course, but big win for Leicester. Unfortunate for Forest. Let's then take us back to Saturday. Let's go to Fulham before we go to Anfield, because I want to talk about how good Newcastle were. Obviously, helped with the early red card for Fulham. Nathaniel
red card challenge.
Oh, 100%. 100%. You can't be throwing yourself in like that.
Can't challenge that high up someone's foot.
No, it's dangerous. And it can lead to nasty injuries. But they took full advantage, I thought, Newcastle.
They did. I mean, Almiron's first goal, what a beautiful goal.
Yeah, they've...
and he's got that in him. Shown that for him.
Yeah, he's got it, though, from time to time.
He's got it in his locker, absolutely.
Yeah. I think, Newcastle fans will want to see it a bit more.
Yeah.
If they get that kind of performance from him a bit more regularly, then, I think Newcastle have been quietly going about their business this season.
Yeah, I just looked at the table. They're 7th.
Yeah.
I know it's early, but that's a good position for them to be in at this point.
Absolutely. I mean, they showed the size, didn't they? The turnaround that Eddie Howe gave them last season gives them the confidence. They're still riding that wave, really, into this season.
They are, yeah.
And it's still going very, very well for them. If they carry on like this, I mean, any of the teams going in form up to the World Cup will be disappointed that the break's coming, because it's going to be...
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
Just to take us away from that, just for a second, that game, I think the break coming in the middle of the season is going to make it very interesting for the restart, because is that going to affect the way that teams come back necessarily? Do you know what I mean? It's like,
it's an
teams
unknown.
that are doing well,
that we haven't had before. Yeah.
It kind of feels like its own mini season in essence between now and Christmas.
Yeah, because it is. Yeah, 6 weeks break, obviously, between the World Cup starting and ending.
Yeah.
obviously, yes, the season is broken up into two halves. Yeah.
So we shall see what happens with that. But just take it back to that game. I think Fulham, I mean, it was always going to be uphill for them once you get the early red card.
Yeah.
It was always going to be difficult
Newcastle
for them.
have got the players that can hurt you, and they did.
Yeah, they've obviously improved massively, and they'll be very happy. But Fulham's start to the season is not to be underrated. I think they've had a very, very good start to life back in the Premier League.
I think they would have taken 11 points from 8 games.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Especially to sit above Liverpool as well on the table.
Yes.
As things currently are, obviously, Liverpool probably still got a game in hand, I think, from one of the cancelled games.
Yes.
So, very, very interesting indeed. And speaking of Liverpool, another shaky performance, I think.
Yeah, very shaky in
from
places.
Them. Yeah. Obviously, they go 2-0 down.
Yeah.
So, already the alarm bells are ringing. But the fact that they managed to put it back, go in front, and then still not be able to hold out.
And I think that was the biggest surprise, yeah.
Yeah, because, you kind of think, okay, they're coming back, you feel the inevitable would be coming, you're a Brighton fan, even if you're in Anfield that day, you're at Anfield, so as soon as that crowd gets up, everything comes around, you're expecting this Liverpool team, once they get on that momentum to step up, to just go, right, that's it.
Yeah.
But to concede the late one was surprising.
Yeah.
Obviously, Trossard has had the game of his life, I think. I mean, he's a great player, don't get me wrong, but I don't think I've ever seen him play that well.
No.
And he gets his hat-trick. He's very clinical. Obviously, it sparked the debate around Trent Alexander-Arnold and his defensive capabilities.
Backed him, yeah.
Yeah, and I just think, he's obviously a very talented footballer, probably one of the best. The way that he has played in that Liverpool team. But I just feel like they're a bit exposed, that Liverpool defence this year.
Yes.
I feel like their press has gone. The intensity of their press has gone.
I think it could be the age of the midfield, possibly.
I think it comes from more forward there. Because I think you've seen a lot of teams just being able to go from defence to attack very quickly. And I don't think necessarily that's always your midfield that creates that. Yes, it has a part to play in that, but I think the way that Liverpool have always pressed from the front, that intensity from the front three seems to have dropped because they're the triggers.
Yes, I suppose if they push up, then everybody follows them, sort of thing.
For the Liverpool press. And so what's happening is teams are finding it a lot easier to get the ball into their midfield, whereas before, the options never used to be there, so they used to have to go long, and then it'd get chopped down by one of the by Van Dijk, get the ball down and get it back into the Liverpool midfield fairly quickly, and that's how I've always seen how Liverpool kind of operate. But I just feel like the intensity of the press from the front has dropped so much this year that teams are finding it a lot easier to play against them.
Yeah, and
they need to get Liverpool need to get that back. Really, I think that's kind of where they're missing. Obviously, we've talked about, and we talked about it at the start of the season, that we thought Liverpool needed that central midfielder. I still don't disagree with that, but I think defensively they leave themselves exposed because that's how they're set up. They're set up for that front press, get on the ball, use and Robertson and Trent to be able to.
They're used to playing with the fullbacks high.
Yeah, and because the press isn't there, that's then leaving their defence they're more exposed. And I think that's where they need to kind of have a think now, because if it is the fact that over the last 3 or 4 years the physicality has drawn, has created this fatigue in the front line, is it losing Mane?
Yeah.
Has that created that? Because was Mane had the energy
and the work rate,
from that side of the pitch? Is that slightly different now? Is that, is that a part to play? I'm not sure. Because the energy would still be there through Luis Diaz and through Carvalho. I think played in that game. I still think that energy is going to be there, but I just feel as a unit they're not pressing like they used to, and it's leaving them exposed.
It is
defensively.
I agree. Yeah.
So Tough one for Liverpool. You love to see. I mean, you hate. I mean, yeah. We've got our own problems. I should probably shut up.
Yeah.
But so yeah, it's a tricky one. But Liverpool are in a shaky thing, but they're not. Well, the league's gone.
Yeah, 100%.
I think at this point,
yeah.
I don't think City 100%. Are gonna make that many mistakes. Arsenal
looking like a 2-horse race. Yeah,
it does look that way at the moment. I mean, I had this conversation with someone somewhere else. I can't remember where, but I think we were both in the agreement that we just don't. I mean, City are just going to roll the league. I think Arsenal will slip up more.
Yeah,
because you can't make
an interesting game when they finally meet one another.
Because I think the problem at the minute is that you can't see this City team dropping too many points. I think Arsenal at the minute won't be able to have a 90-point season. And they're going to need to have a 95, 96-point season in order to win this league this year.
Yeah.
And I just don't see it happening. So that's why I kind of, with Arsenal, I'm just like, I think there's... I mean, yes,
there's green shoots there for Arsenal.
Oh, absolutely. They'll be delighted with the way the season started. I mean, even the most devout, tinted Arsenal fan wouldn't have thought that they'd be able to go past. They wouldn't think that they'd be sitting at top of the table right now. Let's put it that way.
No.
But they did lose to Man United, so they're not that good. Right. Let's talk next then about a big win, actually, I think, for West Ham, and obviously Wolves have now changing manager.
Yeah. Bruno Lage is gone.
Bruno Lage has lost his position at Wolves. Lots of speculation around who's coming in there, but a big win, I think, for West Ham. Again, another team, just like Leicester, who I felt needed something to get themselves going again.
Yeah, and I think Wolves are the perfect opposition for some teams at the moment.
Yeah.
Because they haven't got a lot going forward.
No, they're just not creating much at all, are they?
No. And defensively, obviously, you can only defend so much for so long against good players.
Yeah. Yeah, it was... I mean, they had a lot of the ball, Wolves. But it's just...
They just don't do anything with it.
Yeah, it just doesn't feel like they're ever going to break you down.
Yeah, you don't see Wolves throw on goal and go, well, that's in.
To be fair, you rarely see them through on goal. I think that's the problem. I think they've got players who probably can do that.
Obviously, they've got a lot of injuries. We need to remember that in the forward areas. They've been very unlucky with the players they've lost to injury. Obviously, Diego Costa's come in on a free to try and sort of fill the gap.
Yeah.
But he hasn't played properly since January.
No, he had half an hour, didn't he, in that game?
Yeah. So it's going to take him probably another 2, maybe 6, sort of between that sort of mark to get up to speed. And even then, obviously, this is not Diego Costa of 3-4 years ago.
No, and I think that's I think is what's going to fool a lot of people at the start. It's Diego Costa. I mean, it's not that Diego Costa anymore.
No, it's not the animal that played for Chelsea.
Yeah, I mean, he'll probably get sent off a couple of times, but whether he's still got the energy, the movement, the finishing, that's probably still all there.
Yeah,
but it's whether it's just whether he's got the stamina and the quickness of feet. Yeah. To get him into the areas that he needs to be in, but it'll be interesting to see him back in the league. It's
an interesting one. Obviously, I know they only had the options to go out and get someone who was available on a free.
Yeah.
So, it's a no-win situation really for Wolves. They needed to get somebody.
Indeed. So we'll
see what happens. But West Ham were very good.
Yeah, West Ham played well. They needed to. But helps them out a little bit. Gets them a little bit of breathing space now. Up the table.
Takes the pressure off of Moisey a little bit as well.
It does, Moisey. Didn't he have a go at someone calling him that in a press conference recently?
I believe he did.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I felt it was a bit too familiar.
Yes. But me and him, we're tight.
No, you're tight. You're tight.
Yeah.
I mean, I think his contract's just finished at Old Trafford, so I think he's all right now. Right.
6 years finally up.
Oh, it was, well, yeah, technically it was over a few years ago, but it's just for the bants. Right. Southampton Everton. Again, another big win for a team that needed it, I feel.
Yeah. It's been a big weekend for a lot of sides.
Yeah. Everton needed that. A little less maybe so than maybe Leicester definitely, and West Ham.
Yeah.
I mean, Southampton, they kind of went in on a par, didn't they? At the same time. They were at the same, and obviously they both could have done with the boost, but I think Southampton kind of know that they'll be able to do something later in the season. I think Everton kind of...
Yeah, Southampton know the rescue act is there.
Yeah, they've got that in their locker if they need it, but I think Everton have struggled a bit. I do think that since Maupay's come through, though, since the transfer window, I think he's made a difference to Everton.
Yeah.
I feel like he is...
he's definitely... He's added that focal point at the front.
Yeah, because,
he's not the tallest, but, he's there to sort of take the pressure off. He runs around, he harries people, and it just brings the team up the pitch that 5-10 yards that they need to.
Yeah, and as good as Anthony Gordon's been for them, playing up there, it's not where he wants to be.
He's not where he's number 9.
Yeah, no. It's not where he's going to play his best football, so he's going to be able to bring him probably back onto the wing now and do damage from there. So
yes, yeah, definitely.
I think they're looking in a better position. Obviously, I think bringing Idrissa Gueye back in as well has been huge for them.
Yeah.
Because
Connor Cody scored as well.
Connor Cody, another signing they brought in.
Having Jordan Pickford back is probably going to be quite a big thing for him as well.
Yeah, Pickford obviously in the sticks. I mean, Begovic isn't a bad goalkeeper by any stretch of the imagination.
No,
but
his best years are definitely behind him.
Absolutely, yeah. Of course.
I'm sure I can say that with some confidence.
I think you can. But no, big important win for Everton. They need that. And Southampton, of course, I believe their next away game is at the Etihad. I think I read somewhere. So that is. I think that's City. I think that's
next
City's
game. Yeah. Is the Etihad.
Oh, it is next game. Okay. So, yeah, we're fully expecting then a fourth hat-trick in a row for the cheat code might be on.
I just might shut your eyes, Southampton fans, if I were you.
Because we all know Southampton are there due, more than capable of conceding 9 in a game on multiple occasions.
Yes, and they have done on multiple occasions.
Yes, of course. So we'll see. We'll see. Good luck to Southampton next week.
They don't need it.
They're going to need it. Palace, Chelsea. A good start for Palace.
Yeah.
And this was just that storybook, wasn't it? That Conor Gallagher rocks up.
Coming back to haunt you.
Yeah, gets the goal in the very last minute to win the game. Yeah. Obviously, Aubameyang getting his first goal as well for Chelsea.
Yeah, which is a very important goal for him.
Yeah.
It's a big win for Graham Potter as well.
Yeah. I read somewhere, it might have been Paul Merson.
Oh, God. Okay.
It might have been Paul Merson who said, you're not going to see Graham Potter's imprint on this Chelsea team until next season. And I'm like, it's literally October. If he doesn't get his team playing the way he wants by next summer, he's probably going to be out of a job, right?
Probably, yeah.
Because you can't do that. You can't at least have some imprint on your team until you're a year into your job. You've got to have some impact on them in that time.
You have to remember that Paul Merson spent a lot of his time heading a football in his career. I'm going to use that as an analogy, nothing else.
And they still talk more sense.
And it's, he has got some crackpot ideas, Paul Merson.
He does. But he gets headlines, so, makes the money go for him. So, good win for Chelsea. Kind of gone unnoticed, really, with everything else that's happened this weekend. That they just quietly went about their business. Yeah.
Obviously, Thomas Tuchel left them in a fairly decent position.
Yeah, it was always a strange one, them sacking him. Yeah. But, they're just slowly going about it. up to 5th in the league now, obviously going ahead of United following the Manchester derby.
I mean, are there teams behind Manchester United? There's quite a few.
I mean, literally 3/4 of the league.
I didn't realise you were that high, sorry.
So yeah, big wins. They take those. Palace, I mean, they're looking a little bit more shaky now. Obviously, with 7 games in, they've only got 6 points on the board. They'll have wanted a couple more. Obviously, not this one in particular is always going to be difficult for them. Mm-hmm. They've had a tricky start with who they've played, but I think they would have liked at least a couple more on the board.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
they are sitting just outside the relegation zone on the fact that they've got 3 goal better difference than Wolverhampton. Tricky one for them. And then I think we've just got a raft of 0-0, haven't we?
Yeah, Bournemouth and Brentford 0-0.
Bournemouth and Brentford 0-0. I'll be honest.
Hendry, I think he fell asleep in the studio watching that on Soccer Saturday.
Yeah, not surprised. It sounded boring as hell. And then on Sunday, Leeds Villa. Now, this is only interesting to me because how poor Villa were despite playing against 10 men.
Yeah. They just didn't have any punch at all.
No, nothing going about them. Yeah. You know, you've got that second half, you've got that 40-odd minutes. You can come out and say, yeah, it's hard to play against 10 men, it's hard to do this, it's hard to do that. And it can be, I'm sure it can be. But they just didn't seem to be close to doing any damage to them.
No.
You know, and you think of the likes of Coutinho out there. I mean, I thought it was strange that he took Bailey off. Why is he taking Bailey off?
To bring on Buendia, I mean, it's...
Yeah, but I mean, not so much that.
Change, but I think Bailey's got more about him than Buendia has.
Yeah, but I just think, though, at that point, right, you're playing against 10 men.
Mm-hmm.
You can probably afford to take a defensive-minded player off.
Yeah.
Get the extra one in there. So leave Bailey on. Put Bailey as like a quote-unquote right back, a right wing back.
Yeah.
Keep your pace on there. Keep your width out there. And play it that way and go for the extra attacker. I mean, he took Jacob Ramsey off and brought Danny Ings on, which you think, okay, that's a bit more of a positive move. But he doesn't do that until the 82nd minute.
Yeah.
Right, do it a little, just take a chance at that point.
Yeah, 10 minutes earlier, yeah.
And so, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's going to be difficult for Leeds, obviously, being down to 10 men. I thought the first half was quite even. It wasn't an exciting game anyway, even in the first half.
No, I must admit, I didn't watch it.
And so it's a struggle. And then you come through, you think, oh, red card, that will spice things up again. But it just
didn't.
It just didn't.
No.
It was dull. It was a dull affair.
There's the epitome of a 0-0 bore. Yeah.
And that's how we're ending our roundup in the Premier League this week. Right then, next then. I mean, has there been anything to talk about around the world? There's nothing to talk about in the Premier League this week.
There has been a lot going on around the world. And I first of all need to apologise to Leyton Orient fans.
Why?
I mentioned that you were having a really good season last week.
Oh no, is it?
They lost to Newport County the weekend.
You've ruined it for them.
I have. I've given them the old commentator's curse.
Unlucky.
But anyway, let's see whose seasons I can ruin this week. So we start this week in Serie A as Inter and Roma collided. Chris Smalling won the game for Jose Mourinho's side as he was sitting outside in a luxury camper watching the game because he was banned from entering the stadium. Napoli and Atalanta continue to lead the way at the top after wins over Torino and Fiorentina respectively. To the Bundesliga, where Cologne beat Dortmund by 3-2. Union Berlin lost 2-0 to Eintracht Frankfurt as Bayern moved up into third place after a big win over Bayer Leverkusen. In La Liga, Barcelona reached the summit as they beat Mallorca as Real Madrid were held by 10-man Osasuna. A fiery end to the game between Espanyol and Valencia saw 2 players sent off in the last few minutes before a 96-minute equaliser for Valencia. In Ligue 1, PSG scored late thanks to Kylian Mbappe to beat Nice. Marseille won 3-0 to keep up with PSG and they meet in a couple of weeks' time. In the MLS, DC United lost again, and it wasn't a great day for Donovan Pines as he scored an own goal and then was sent off against Montreal as they lost by 1-0. We're now reaching the business end of the season in the MLS, so we'll bring you news of the playoffs in the coming weeks. No WSL action this week. as it's International Week. England play the USA on Friday night at Wembley. A couple of more sackings to talk about. Chris Wilder was sacked by Middlesbrough yesterday, and Matt Taylor was also confirmed to leave Exeter to take over at Rotherham. And the fourth qualifying round draw has been made for the FA Cup. Now, last season, we focused on a team called Needham Market in the FA Trophy. Do you remember, Chris?
I do. They did very well.
So we have followed them again because they have a very juicy draw in the fourth qualifying round. They take on Maidstone of the
Maidstone. Well, that's quite. You've rounded that quite nicely because that's where Chris Smalling started his career, wasn't it?
Hey!
He got plucked from Maidstone by Fulham.
See,
that.
It all makes sense, doesn't it?
All the way around, all the way around the world and around Chris Smalling's career.
Yes.
Right. So yeah, lots of interesting stuff going on around. Interesting what's going on in Germany at the minute because Bayern are not necessarily having it all their own way this year so far, but obviously I think over the course of the season they'll probably will.
Yeah, but, Freiburg and Union Berlin have kind of started well, but yeah.
So we'll see how that all pans out. Barca and Real look like they're getting ready to set themselves back up for their usual antics this season.
Yeah. Did you see the video of Jose Mourinho in his bus?
I didn't see the video of him in his bus.
Oh, it's an amazing bus. It's like an RV type thing.
Right.
And he's out. He pans round to show the outside of the stadium, and then pans round to see him watching it on a laptop.
Lovely. Did he? I bet he had a radio to the bench as well, didn't he?
Oh yeah, of course he did.
100%. Yeah, nothing to see here.
Well, he's allowed to do that. Technically, he's not allowed to enter the stadium, which obviously he didn't do.
No.
But he is allowed to have contact with the bench watching it from home.
And of course, he's starred in a Stormzy video lately as well. So he's
been very busy as Jojo.
Living his best week. Any news on Donis?
No news on Donis this week. No. They drew with grasshoppers.
Sorry?
They drew with grasshoppers.
Do you mean as in the insects?
Not the insects, no.
Right.
Come on.
Okay.
But Donis didn't get on the field, unfortunately.
That's unfortunate. I mean,
and they drew 1-1, so they've had a good result.
Yeah, I mean, they might have won if they put Donis on. Come on.
Well, I mean, they probably would have. They still haven't won so far this season. So yeah. Come on, give Donis a chance. Please.
Yeah, put him back on the pitch. Come on. You know, it's wrong not to. Okay, so well, in that case, then we best have a look at this weekend's fixtures.
Yeah, no Saturday lunchtime game this weekend.
Interesting.
Don't know why. I think there's 3 games on Sunday, which could possibly be why. So we start the weekend with Newcastle taking on Brentford, Bournemouth and Leicester, Manchester City and Southampton, Chelsea and Wolves. They are your 3 o'clock games this Saturday. The Amex is the destination for Brighton versus Tottenham. That will not be an easy game for Spurs this weekend. West Ham take on Fulham at 2 o'clock on Sunday. Crystal Palace also take on Leeds before the 4:30 game, which is Arsenal versus Liverpool. That's going to be an absolute belter, I should think, at the Emirates. Manchester United take on Everton at Goodison Park at 7 o'clock on Sunday. Very bizarre kickoff time.
Well, I wonder then if that's going to be... Is that on the telly?
I presume that's on the telly.
Is that on the BT Sport? And that's why we haven't got the lunchtime game on a Saturday, because Man United were picked, but they can't play Saturday because it's Europa League week.
I don't know what channel it's on. Check your local listing.
Well, I was just going to try and have a look on the Man United app.
Oh God, here we go.
Because they normally put it. Yes, it is on BT Sport.
It is on BT.
So that'll be why, because they picked a United game, and the United game's got moved because of the Europa League.
Yes.
For the Sunday, because they can't
there we
play
go. Mystery solved.
Saturday. Boom.
Yes.
I'm good at this. Right.
You are very good at this. And our final game of the weekend is Nottingham Forest playing on a Monday night again. This time taking on Aston Villa.
Another Midlands derby.
Another Midlands derby, but at home this time.
At home. Let's see how they get on in that particular one. Right. Thank you all very, very much for tuning in this week. I'm sure you've all enjoyed the misery, even if we haven't. But, you know, it's a new week this week. Lots of games.
I mean, we're playing Brighton, mate. It's going to be bad next week.
Probably.
I think.
I mean, we're playing Everton away, and we don't do well at Everton away hardly ever anyway. So, yeah, I'm sure it'll be fantastic. But for now, don't forget, if you want to get in touch with us on Twitter, we are at Let's Football Pod. You can email us, letsfootballpod@gmail.com. Like I said, we'll be back next week discussing all the big talking points from this week. But enjoy yourselves, and we'll see you all soon. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.